Good afternoon. This is Dr. Ken Long with a AI public persona case study. It is June 29th, 2025. So, in this case study, we're going to ask AI to describe my public persona or my public footprint. I'm going to ask three different AIs that question. We're going to use AI to compare and contrast the three responses in order to see the variations between different kinds of AI that have live search. We're going to synthesize those three responses into a consensus to find what's common. We're going to find out which ones, where they're different. We're going to calculate which AI of those three is closest to the consensus synthesis, and then we're going to reflect on the results. So I'm using ChatGPT 4.1 Mini, 4.1 Full, and Claude 3.7. I tried this with a couple other AIs, but it's just kind of more of the same, and this will give you the idea. All right, so we're going to start with this prompt. This was the common prompt. Assess my public persona. Itemize my top 10 skills, my lines of professional operation, what it's like to work with me, what professional services I offer that could add value to you and your organization, what is my typical modus operandi, who'd be my ideal client, what methods do I employ, what kind of problems can I help you with, how would he try typically to help you seize and exploit an opportunity, how would working with him probably make you feel? Now you'll notice that there is some redundancy and indirect circling around some issues with this prompt. I'm trying to cause it to look from different angles with some subtlety so I can accept a little bit of imprecision here in order to get some indirect investigation and solutioning. All right, so ChatGPT 4.1 Mini found I have these top 10 skills. I'll let you read them. Statistics, org development, military experience and leadership, and so on. My lines of professional operation, those are all pretty good. What it's like to work with me, the professional services I offer that can add value, how I operate typically. Let's see, rigorous research, disciplined execution, continuous learning. I try. Apply statistical and systems thinking to market opportunities, uses coaching and accountability mechanisms for disciplined application. I could live with that. His approach is tactical and adaptive. That's correct. Emphasizing evidence-based decision-making, iterative improvement. My ideal client, okay, makes sense. Methods that I employ are some specifics, kinds of problems I can help with, how he would help you seize and exploit an opportunity, and what working with him probably feels like. I would try to make you feel more supportive. Yeah, I do challenge. I would hope we were confident in working together. Yeah, I'm a research-driven leader and coach who leverages military, academic, and financial expertise. Okay, we'll try to live up to that. All right, so we then just repeat that prompt, and now I pass it to ChatGPT 4.1, full model. It answers in a similar line. It added an extra line of operation, what it's like to work with me, and so forth. Let's see. Clients are likely to feel empowered, confident, intellectually challenged. Combination of structure, support, and accountability fosters growth and a sense of achievement. Okay. Discipline, no-nonsense approach. Balance with coaching and mentorship. Creates a productive and motivating environment. So we got to live up to that. Nice. Then we ask Claude 3.7. It's going to find probably many similar things. I'm not going to dwell on that too much. You can slow it down and read it if you'd like. Ideal clients, problems I can help with. This is a little more verbose than the other ones I noticed. Working with Dr. Long would likely make you feel intellectually challenged but supported, confident in making evidence-based decisions, disciplined, educated rather than simply directed, empowered through understanding statistical edges, grounded in methodological or methodical approaches rather than emotional reactions. I'd say that's fair, is what we're trying to do. So now that I've got those three, I then ask it a second round of analysis. Synthesize these last three outputs. They are the AI large language model responses to a single common prompt, and I want to do a compare and contrast between the three to find the area of commonality and agreement, and any areas of either disagreement or unique insight. I want to know, by doing some positioning calculus, which of the three is closest in tone and content to an aggregate of agreement, a phrase I invented, I think. So develop a definition of that concept, describe your method of achieving it as a standard, and your procedure for making the comparison of the three individual positions in order to calculate the distance from the aggregate. Acknowledge. So what I'm trying to get here is not just an answer, but I'm specifying a procedure to follow. I want it to be reflective about the procedure. I want to be able to investigate its documented process to see what I can see about the method. So here's what it did. To conduct the analysis, it was going to define, quote, the aggregate of agreement, identifying unique insights, measure content alignment, which response most closely captures the elements in the aggregate agreement while minimizing unique or divergent content. That's pretty good. Assess tonal consistency, evaluate which response's language structure and presentation most closely matches the overall tone shared across all three. Calculate the distance from the aggregate. This is almost like, imagine a linear regression of data points, but using conceptual measures, using a weighted combo of content overlap and tonal alignment to determine, etc. And then this was the result of the analysis. Across all three responses, this is the strong consensus that I have expertise in statistical market analysis, trading system development, highlighted my military experience, cited my academic credentials, combines disciplined, systematic approaches with adapted strategies, offers coaching, training, and education, uses a multi-frame analysis for market evaluation, and really all decision-making. Emphasizes accountability and evidence-based decision-making, operates at the intersection of academic rigor and practical trading application. That's the practitioner-scholar stance. Creates structured environments that challenge clients intellectually while providing support. Values both systematic process and adaptive learning. Then it goes into what were unique about the insights from individual AI outputs. Response 1, that's the GPT Mini, emphasized adaptive and tactical learning, accountability groups, focused on organizational leadership beyond trading, and offered elegant practical solutions that balance beauty and utility, which I thought was a pleasant surprise. Response 2, which was the full GPT 4.1 model, more process improvement, peer learning, multi-lens analysis, more references to my experience. And response 3 characterized me as, in terms of archetypes, swift adaptability like a fox and the evidence-based moves of a scientist, more specific reference to ETFs as a technique for trading focus, more structure on the ideal client, provides a more detailed step-by-step approach to opportunity exploitation. We noticed that just in the length. The tonal analysis found Mini 4.1 was more formal, emphasizing theory and more generalized language, balancing academic and practitioner elements. Response 2 is more business-oriented, concise, action-oriented, blending skills and applications in a structured, service-oriented manner. Response 3 was more detailed, used more trading-specific terminology. Then it went through this calculation of the distance from aggregate. Where are we at there? Oh, yeah. So distance from aggregate calculation. It decided to put 70% weight on content alignment and 30% on tonal consistency. It found that response 3 had the most content alignment and was in the middle on tonal consistency, whereas response 2 had 85% alignment and 85% tonal consistency. The mini was least accurate on both content and tonal consistency. Its conclusion, response 3, that's the Claude 3.7 Sonnet. It was closest on the aggregate, narrowly edging out response 2, and it was primarily due to more comprehensive coverage of the consensus elements and maybe a deeper dive on specific elements. It also captured more effectively my multifaceted persona as a trainer, educator, and coach with a military background. So you may find that to be of interest. Now, I went ahead and ran this in a more extended version, including Grok 3 with full deep search and deep reasoning to see what that might do, and then also Gemini 2.5 Pro. I'm going to be merging all 5 of those into some kind of blended summary profile, but I didn't want that to get too complex for this case study. So this is an example of how you might partner with AI for self-awareness, self-discovery. I thought it was an interesting way to look at the saying that AI is interested in you. Even if you're not interested in AI, AI is interested in you. And this is an example of what AI can infer from me based on my public footprint on the internet, from things I've said or written or published. So that might be an interesting exploration for yourself. You can use those 2 prompts. There's the prompt on how to have it describe your persona, and then this prompt. Let's see. Yeah, this prompt would give you the ability to synthesize and do the compare and contrast. And you could scale that based on the number of AI artifacts that were generated. I'm going to be doing a little bit more work into the theory and practice of how to go about that, determining consensus and measuring the aggregate of agreement and then the differentiation from there in order to position. I think that's actually pretty interesting when you start applying that tool to a broad set of literature where you're expecting a variety of opinions and points of view to be expressed, and you want to try to find something like a word cloud or systems network diagram or a participatory diagram, like a community mapping or stakeholder mapping would be another way to think of that. There's some utility in finding out what the positioning of different stakeholders around a concept or an idea or a set of issues might look like. We're an affinity diagram. Who's closest to each other? You see that kind of analysis all the time in our intel prep of the battlefield with interest groups and positive, neutral, and negative relationships between groups. You're trying to figure out who's who in the zoo. I'll be driving a little deeper into that, see if I can't uncover some models that help us do that kind of stakeholder mapping. So that's the case study. Hope you found that interesting. And if so, send me a note at longke@yahoo.com. Thanks for your kind attention.